So, where's the honey when hard things or hard times keep happening? Have you ever felt like life is targeting you? You ask yourself, like, why does this keep happening to me? Or why can't I get ahead? Just when I think I'm okay, something else happens. Maybe with work, your health, money, other people. You notice different faces, maybe different places, but similar situations. And it starts to feel personal. You start to feel like you're being targeted or that you're paying a price. And I believe that everyone has experienced this to some extent because it's just part of this human experience. But it doesn't have to be often, it doesn't have to last long. We're going to trip over some things here. But the point I want to make in this recording is when you see a pattern, when things just keep knocking you down, it's time to look at it a different way. It's time to ask the playful, curious question, why? Because it's an inside job. It's always an inside job. Life always has the potential to work out well for us. There's really no such thing as bad luck or karma that you have to like pay back for something you might have done previously in this life and another life, and now you have to pay back for that. It doesn't really work like that. There is balance in life. There's the law of cause and effect, but it's not really you're not being punished or being forced to pay back for something that you might have done in a hurtful way to somebody else, or you get what I mean. And so when I say it's an inside job, it's because we are pure positive creators. We came here with the intention to look around in this big world and see things that we like, things that we don't like. All this variety is for all of us, but we don't individually like or want all of it. Good plan. Because if we did want all of it, if we all wanted all of it, that could be a problem, right? If we all liked the same type of person or we all liked exactly the same type of food, I think we'd be bored quickly. And there wouldn't be expansion. We would have nothing to spark new desires about, which makes eternity eternal. There's always more, there's always more, there's always more. So when hard times happen, there's data there, there's information, it's feedback. And when hard times keep happening, there's just more feedback. It's repeated feedback. Life will repeat just out of basic law of attraction until something is seen by you, something shifts in you. We're always getting there. And then there's always more. So we might as well relax in this and look for as much honey as we can to make the hard times understandable, navigatable, short, infrequent. So when you see these patterns, it's information. Life is showing you, life is guiding you, not punishing you. Life loves you. Source, God, all of creation loves you unconditionally, wants you to do well, wants you to feel good, and is calling you to that, is leading you to that. But we can be really serious. I mean, we look at the reality here and we take it seriously and we see the truth in that. So we keep doing it and we keep doing it, and it can get harder and harder. So if you're in a loop of repeating patterns or a repeating pattern, you're in a loop of unseen realizations. They're there. They can be realized by you to get you out of the loop. So I suggest trading frustration for basic curiosity because this isn't happening to you. It's just showing you some stuff. It's giving you data, feedback. So we just want to be playfully curious and just wonder what's really going on here. I'll give you an example. The family that I know that went through quite an extended period of people that knew them well, people close to them were thinking, how can they just ever catch a break? I mean, it was just always something. He was getting laid off, or a car problem, a problem with the home, um, COVID. There was just so much, and it was every time they started to feel like they got a head above water, boom, something else. The honey in that is that they made it through everything, and they learned a little more, they got a little wiser as I was encouraging them to hold on now, look for the honey. You just made it through that one. Again, you made it through another tough time. And if you think about it, it wasn't really that bad. It's easy to get frustrated and say, okay, whatever, but this keeps happening. So my suggestion was if you want to get out of that, you have to look at it differently. You can't talk about the stuff that you think is bad or unwanted and think you're going to get anything different because you're keeping yourself in the vibrational space where that sort of stuff resides, which means you're going to see another version of it, another version of it, another version of it. And so slowly they started to, at first we're just stubborn and we are taught to look at reality and say, yeah, well, whatever. But this really sucks and it's just reality. So you can say happy things, but here we are again. Eventually you get tired of beating your head against that wall of resistance and you start to find some inner determination that says, this just can't keep being a thing. Something has to shift, something has to give. We want better. And maybe quickly, but often little by little, we will find it. If we're willing to say things like, yes, the hot water tank went, but we were home. It was a weekend. We had the money to get it. Or this car thing went wrong. Well, it was something we could fix ourselves. And it's something that we could even maybe borrow the money from somebody to get right now. And here we go, made it through again. Get laid off. If we look at that as a bad thing, we're going to have a bad experience with it. If we look at it even through the eyes of, okay, well, I have some free time on my hands. What do I want to do with it? Or if we really step back for a minute, has life been saying for a while that particular position, you're done with it. But since you weren't making the move, maybe life gave you a little hand in that. Even finding thoughts like, oh, there has to be something. There has to be something really well suited for me that can pop up at any time. And so they made it through all of that. He's in a better job that is very consistent and just perfect for him and their schedule. And I could go down a whole list of things that have just worked out for them in the way that they want. And things continue, even so much so that he was fishing with a friend. He and his son would go fishing with a friend, and the friend's catching fish every time, and he's catching nothing. And he kept saying to himself, this is ridiculous. I mean, we're fishing in the same area. Why am I not catching any fish? Using the same equipment, the same bait, but I get nothing. Until he started to shift his perception of it. Maybe it's just because I keep saying I don't catch any fish. Maybe that's why I'm not catching any fish. Maybe the first time he didn't get anything, he just got it in the back of his mind that fishing wasn't as easy as he thought. So he started switching up his thoughts about it. Well, there are a lot of fish in that water. If other people were catching them, surely I can. I'm using the same equipment and the same bait. And guess what? He's been catching fish ever since. So, we have to look at what's been consistent in the patterns, even if they're different situations, but they have the same basis. What's been consistent? Where's the clue in why that keeps happening? I'll give you another example. In my own life, when I was young, we grew up with not much money, and that was just the way it was. And for the first time I sold a car that I had bought because I worked, made my money, bought my car. I had an AMC Hornet at first I bought for $50. It was a clunker. And it somehow worked, and I got another one that it was a black Matador. And It was a weird, but really cool car, all black, and I decided it was time to sell it. I was at work when or at least it worked out that I had to work when the person who wanted to buy it came to look at it. My parents, my dad especially, said, "Don't worry about it. We'll take care of that for you," which they did. I came home from work that night and he said, "Okay, we sold it, but we need to borrow this money." And he gave me $100 and they borrowed the rest forever. And, I didn't mind. I thought, okay, they really need it and that's okay. But a part of me was like, but just, you know, my graduation came. So these were the only 2 times that I ever had more than just a small paycheck. Graduation came and I think I got $250 from, different people and cards. And back then that was a lot more obviously than it is today, but they needed to borrow it. And so I let them have it. And again, I thought that's okay. They really need it. And you just develop this mentality. So that, with a lot of other things, was teaching me to have a I always tell people there's a little tape that runs in the back of your mind, back of your brain somewhere, that is really where you're doing your attracting from. It's really where your core beliefs are, or your conditioned beliefs, I should say, more accurately. And that's the point you're doing your creating from. That's your point of attraction. Because I could say, and I really did mean, it's okay. Like, you need it. I get it. But at the same time, I was also being conditioned to believe when it comes, it goes, especially when you get, extra, it's not yours. And so I've noticed over the years, now I've been able to catch it, but I started noticing this long standing pattern of when money would come, money had to go. Money would come, money had to go. And if it was extra money, somebody needed it or something needed it. And I always thought, okay, that's all right. I get it. I get it. I'm glad I could help or I'm glad I could pay for that. But it was still a lack mindset. It's still the bottom of that mentality. It doesn't really have words. It just has a state of being that runs sort of programs and runs through your actions, activities, beliefs, and results in that truth that tape is playing. Now, there are a lot of truths. That's a truth that isn't really helpful, at least not to me, right? So it's one I have and I still have to continue to reprogram to understand that there is enough. And yes, it does go out to wonderful things. And yes, I can pay for this and that, but it doesn't have to disappear. And it doesn't have to always be required by somebody or something else when it pops up, especially, like I said, the extra money. So, just an example of how that little tape that runs in the back of your mind can be quietly dictating what you're actually living and experiencing. That's the data I'm talking about. That's the stuff you want to go for. What's behind the scenes here that I must believe? Even if you're thinking, well, there's honey in it, it's okay, I could pay for that, or I had it to give to you. That's beautiful. But however, it's still lack. So that's where we want to find that and shift our perception of it. And that takes self talk. The kind of talk that says, there's plenty, there's always plenty, and it doesn't have to go anywhere. I can hold on to it if I want to. There's nothing's going to come up and need to take that away from me because there's plenty, there's plenty, there's plenty. And there's a pool of, say, money in this example that I always have available to me. And at first, they're just words. But when you really look around, I used to do things, and I still do just for the playfulness of it. I'll look around at the trees, even in the winter, like at a pine tree, and I'll think, how many pine needles are on that tree? Or those trees, especially. I don't know. It's a lot. And then when you see that and all of the trees with leaves on them, I like to do this when I'm driving up and down highways. I think just in what I can see, how many leaves are there? And the reason why I do that is because it keeps me in an understanding of how vast and abundant this world is. How many blades of grass are in your lawn? How many people are in just the state you live in? Think about that number. I mean, it's just a really, really big number. And how many of those people have a lot of money? A lot of them. How many of them don't have much? Probably a lot of them. The other side tells us that if we took all the money on the planet and we divided it up evenly amongst the people on this planet, it would take a very short period of time before it was right back the way it is right now. Think about that. That's mindset. That's basic tape running in the back of your mind that's going to believe or not believe. You can utilize that. You can have more of that. It's fair that you have that. Because the people that are in the mindset of abundance will attract a whole lot more right back. Those who aren't will lose a whole lot of that real quick. And it'll go back to a similar version of what we have right now. So, curiosity over frustration. If you've had relationships, say romantic relationships, that just don't work out, or you end up being the one that's taken advantage of, or whatever, ask yourself. No blame. Don't blame yourself. Be curious. Why would I have maybe put that as a possibility for myself in this life before I came? What honey am I getting from this? What am I really expanding to because of this? What do I know now about me, about my preferences, about my own personal power, my own ability to let myself have what I want and what I enjoy? Or do I sacrifice it all into these relationships? And if you say, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing, or whatever you find out of your curiosity that answers that question, okay, fine. What do you want to do about it? How can you talk to yourself in a way that is the version of what you do want versus the version of what you don't want? Because often when I ask people what they want, they either say, I don't know, or they start telling me the things that they don't want. What kind of job would you like? Oh, well, I want one that doesn't have those kind of people. I want one that, just doesn't have that type of schedule that blah, blah, blah. I want one that isn't like really far and underpays me. I want one, that doesn't have like a high workload, but just like a good steady workload. Now, even though you're saying some things in there that are what you do want, you're focusing in this example on the don't wants, not helping. That's not going to get you the job you really deserve. Or if people say, I don't know, I say, yes, you do. Of course you know. You know what you want, but you have to be honest with yourself about it. Do you like to work in a cubicle? Do you like to have a schedule that's set? Or do you like to work maybe outside? Would you like to have a schedule that's flexible? Do you like to work closely with people? Do you like to work as part of a team? Or does that drive you crazy to work as part of a team? Want a job that allows you to travel? So that's how to get more clear about what you do want as you're noticing the pattern of what keeps these things happening over and over and over again. Even asking yourself the question, like, what might this be saying to me? What is life showing me? Because life is always showing us. That's where most guidance is. Most of our guidance comes from the proof in the pudding. What's showing up for us? How we start to feel about something. Sometimes if you sort of get quiet for a second, you'll realize that life has been shifting for you and maybe turning you in a different direction, but you haven't been seeing it or really paying attention because you're too busy thinking it's wrong. So none of this is random. It's just revealing. And that's really good news. I mean, knowing that, do you feel more hope now? Do you feel powerful instead of powerless to the hard times? Do you feel more like the hard times, they haven't got you? They're not coming at you. They're not here to hurt you. The hard times are just getting your attention. It's just like when your body's sick or having an issue. Your body's just trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you you've been up to some stuff, some thoughts and actions, whatever, that just aren't a good match for you. And your body is just saying, I'm just trying to tell you. Your body is literally saying to you, I'm just trying to say, because I can speak the loudest and get your attention the best. So when the body speaks up, it's sort of a late in the game thing, because a lot of other things in life have been trying to tell you first, and again and again and again. And eventually the body chimes in and says, well, I can speak pretty strongly, get the attention of this person. And hopefully the person will listen and make some adjustments. And here we go. Find the honey and healing begins, because healing is just letting go of the stuff that you've been doing or thinking about that isn't working out for you. And I don't mean the typical things that we hear on TV. You shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't eat that, you shouldn't whatever. You have to hold your own counsel. Your body, your guidance will tell you what's good for you specifically, what's helpful for you specifically. And that's a whole nother topic I'll get into probably soon, is what do we do when we get conflicting guidance? Well, I shouldn't say guidance. When we get conflicting information out there in the world, what do we do? It gets confusing, but it's not. We'll get to that. So if you feel like you have a little more hope now, or you feel that this might be something that somebody else really could benefit from listening to, please share this. Like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. That's what keeps this alive and keeps this going. Because there's honey in absolutely everything. Even those recurring hard times are just trying to get your attention. But you have to be willing to look. You have to be willing to look for that honey. So where's the honey for you? Until next time, you can find me at honeyandeverything.com. Stay sweet.